Hi everyone. Um, Hello and welcome. Welcome back. Um, we are going back today to the Haunted Mansion. Um, if you're not familiar or just uh, um, need a reminder, this is I think now we can officially call it very long-term project. Hey Sue. Um, but definitely a long-term project that I've been working on. I started it in October. It was supposed to be sort of an Halloween month thingy. I've definitely been an overachiever with this one, so it's currently 3 stories. Soon I hope to be 4 stories mentioned, so there's a lot of stuff to do, and yeah, definitely didn't finish it in a month. And what's happening with it now is that I'm kind of doing it in between other projects, so I can catch up with things that I've done before and blah blah. Um, all of the former streams are on my channel. There is a playlist. Oh, thank you so much. Thanks so much, Sue. Um, all of the former videos are available on YouTube. You can see I'm kind of going through the whole process of the planning, and then there were like furniture and wallpapers and flooring, a lot of flooring. I love the flooring. I became addicted to wood flooring. And yeah, and today we're going to jump right back to the study, which is on the third floor or second floor, I suppose, depending on how you count it. Like if you count ground floor as the first floor or as a different. Anyways, let's just call it third. We are working on the study. And I think that when I did the live last time, I'm kind of off screen bringing it into the camera so you can actually see what I'm talking about. It's a bit of a mess as usual. And yes, I can already tell you that I have not glued in the walls yet. No. That will happen at some point, but right now they are not glued and still constantly falling on me. But it's okay. So yeah, um, I should just put on the camera and you can see it. Yeah. Just a second. There we go. Hey, Kara. Yes. Well, yeah, that's the thing, Sue, that it really depends. In different countries, they count it in different ways. So I'm always like, count it however you want. There's like physically 3 floors. If you want to say that it's a ground floor and 2 floors, that's fine by me. If you want to say it's 3 floors, that's fine by me as well. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's still not glued. I know, I'm terrible. But anyways, the space here, this room here, which is already dropping walls. Uh, this is our study. I did give you a bit of a sneak peek of this wall last time. The last time that we worked on this mansion, we were working on. I did show you how I started this library. Um, but yeah, there was a whole lot of tiny shelf gluing down, so that was not the most fascinating thing to do. And we skipped and built a beautiful magical house. Um, and today I'm going to talk about these little books. But yeah, I'll show you a bit of a close-up maybe. Yeah. So you can see it goes all the way up. So yeah, this is the door to the room. It goes all the way up. I did add a trim at the top and the bottom. This trim will go around basically the entire room, similar to what we had in the parlor. Similar to what we did in the parlor. So on the other wall, the opposite wall, this one that has windows, it will also have this trim and curtains coming from it. Yeah, I know. I want one of these too. I've always dreamed of like, a giant wall with just like giant library. And we should say perhaps that even though so the scale in this miniature house is not the most accurate. I am kind of playing around with it, but basically this is supposed to be like 4 meters high. The door is like the door because yeah, so the door is 2 meters and this is like 4 meters, the whole wall. So this is gigantic. You can see if you look from the side, you can see that the top part is actually a little more narrow. So just to create some variation because it's fun. And what we'll do today, or at least one thing that we'll do today, is look at the books, how I'm doing them, and fill up some of the shelves. Because I realized, so last week I said that we'll probably do the desk, and I do have a plan for the desk I can show you, but shallow. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're right. Shallow shelves. Um, so, but I realized that I haven't really talked about how I'm doing the books for this, and we have done a tiny book before, but there's a difference, at least for me, there's a difference from when I'm doing, one tiny book that will stand on a table or a shelf or something, and just a ridiculous amount of books that need to be filling up this bookshelf, because I did do a calculation and it's like around 300 possibly supposed to be. So a lot of books, which is cool. And the other thing that I might do today is actually do the framing of the windows, because that's another thing that I did show you in the parlor, but I didn't, well, I did do it in the parlor, but I didn't actually show you how I did it. I talked about it a little bit, but I figured why not also do it on screen? It's useful. You have 85 little books over there. Where is over there? But I want them too. I love tiny books. This is obviously a very non-detailed so far. I am going to add some more details in the end, I think, on the books themselves, like just a little bit of maybe gold engraving or something like that for extra details, because, always do more. They're fun. But to begin with, the main thing is in front of you, the tray. Nice. Nice. I have a slightly similar, I think, amount here in this cup. Lots of tiny little books. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a sec. I did make already the fireplace for this room. We've done fireplaces before several times, so I didn't feel the need to go over it again. It's the same pattern, just a slightly different variation. You can see that I used the same decoration trim that we have on the library top and top of the room. So it's kind of a repeated pattern in this room and in general in the house, mostly because I really love it. I really like this. It's an impresslit. It's a Tim Holtz impresslit. So it both creates this the how do you call it? The pattern, and cuts the line. If you're not familiar, then that's what it is, and it's awesome. Okay, so let's move to the full screen and start looking at some tiny books and how you make them, and ignore that the wall just fell. Yeah. Okay. So, let's for now put this aside. Let me see. Ooh, all the walls fell. Put this aside. We'll just keep this guy around. And yeah, I can actually show you here. Oof, kind of creating weird. This is basically the plan for the desk. What you can see here, the lines is to basically show that yes, this is where the legs should be sort of, but there will be a panel on the outside. So kind of to show that this is not completely open. I'm still not sure if I want both sides to have little cabinets, or that one of them will have drawers and the other will have cabinet, or all of them will be drawers, just because I think that it's more customary for desks to have drawers than cabinets. Not sure yet, but it is planned to be like a pretty big, heavy decorated desk, fitting for the owner of the house, whom we don't know. So, okay, so for the books, I basically do two types, I guess I would say, or two ways that I make tiny little books here to fill up this. Oops, sorry, got it. Sorry. Yes. So there are two types of books that I use for this library, of course, because we're talking something so small. I'm not, how do I say it? I'm not putting too much details inside. I'm putting, so most of these books are basically just chipboard that I cut and color on the side. So if we'll take one of these, as you can see, all of these tiny books. Let's just catch one. There we go. So these are cut to fit the size of this library. So they are about 0.6 millimeters, centimeters. So 6 millimeters. Ugh. Yes, so 6 millimeter basically across, or like both height and length, I guess. And the thing is that basically all I do is kind of keep the chipboard as is. You can use, if I would do it in a way, like if it was an open shelf where you can see the top of the books, I would probably use, ooh, 118. Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah, I think, yeah, please do. Just post it. I think it might, I'm not sure if you can post it on my Peculiaris page, or at least try. If you can't, then, if you post it on my personal page, I can repost it to the social page. I don't know, like my Peculiaris page. I don't know why Facebook is just very weird with allowing posting. Anyways, back to Tiny Book. And enough complaining about Facebook. I do that all the time. If you note, it's very hard to see in the camera, but because oh, nice, yeah, that's a good collection of accessibility. So what I like, the reason that I like to use gray board specifically is that, and it's hard to see in the camera, but it does actually have this feel of layers here. So when you look closely, it does actually look like there's pages. And as I was starting to say, if I was doing it on an open shelf that you could see the top, I would probably pick a different color, not the gray board, because the gray board is, because if it's like white or cream, it just looks more like a book. But honestly, the gray, it's a light gray. It does have an I don't know, it does work as well. And in this case, as you can see, you can find certain angles that you can see a teensy bit of the top of the book, but not really in this case. So the gray works perfectly well, especially because we are talking something that is vintagey and old, so and probably not that well taken care of for a while. So definitely works well. The other type, no, you know what? In order to not confuse too much, I'm actually gonna make one of these and then we'll talk about the other type. And you can see already that here I have another tub of of already cut, soon to be colored book. Yes, exactly. Hi, Khan. Thank you for joining us. And yes, I agree that gray works very well as discolored books as well. Use sepia ink to dab all around it to make look like paper more. Yeah, I mean, again, one of those things that when you're doing a library like this, thankfully, perhaps you don't need to consider it too much because it's going to be inside. But there are a lot of ways to make the books look older. So what I'm going to do, I'm just starting with this little. I'll just show you the whole process. So this is just a piece of gray board. This one is 2 millimeters, approximately. I think it's actually 1.5. No, it's like 2 millimeter thickness. One of the things that I do is also vary the thickness of the gray board or chipboard that I'm using in order to have books in different thicknesses. Oh, Big Irish, hello. Well, Big Israeli, hello back at you. And I already chopped this one to be, it's approximately 1.6. It's actually close to 1.7, but I can just test it. It's, okay. I'm actually going to have to remove a bit maybe from this. It's a little bit too high. So I don't usually do it on the craft mat, but media mat, oops, it'll be okay this one time. And I'm just going to, this is going to be a bit challenging. We can do it. I'll just remove approximately, I will just remove approximately 1 millimeter. I don't mind too much if it's not the same lengths everywhere because this will be the height of the books. And, it's completely fine and even recommended that they will not be at the same height. So I'm just getting this cut. I might actually do the finishing cut with my scissors because I don't necessarily want to dull my knife on the glass. Yeah. And once you do the marking, it's very easy to just finish it with scissors. Okay. Now we can test it again and see that it's a good height. Yep. Alrighty. So now what I'm going to do is just mark approximately every 6 millimeters because again, for this library, at least, especially for this section, I might actually make them, no, I'll do it in 6 mm. I don't think I have enough for this section yet, because the top part is more shallow. It will need to be a different size. But for the bottom part, for me, doing it 6 mm intervals is good. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm not gonna make a whole lot. We'll just catch a few ones. And if it's not accurate, again, not a big deal. Now, to cut the books, I actually prefer to use scissors. And the reason is that when that a cut from a craft knife will give you a very nice sharp edge. However, if you cut with scissors, and I hope that I can show it online, what happens is that, the scissors actually create some pressure, and they automatically give you a slightly more rounded edge on one side. I hope you can see it. Hey, Peggy. And that automatically kind of gives you a more of a feel of a book. So we'll just chop a few more. Ooh. Try to not have them fly all over the room, which tends to happen when you cut things that small. I'll continue with those later, but for now we have 5 little ones. Now, the next step is completely not obligatory. It's completely a choice. And it's partly because as much as I love, trying to escape, as much as I love the Tim Holtz scissors, they do create, sometimes they leave marks, these serrated marks, which it's not something that you'll actually see with your eyes sometimes, often, but if you're taking a picture, I don't know if the camera will catch it, but if you're taking like a very close-up picture, a micro picture, then with micro lens, then yeah, you will have these kind of serrated. I don't know if you can hear it, but basically you'll be able to see it, and I don't like it. So what you can do is just use this friendly nail file and file it up. Now, since I'm already doing it, I will often just actually work it a bit extra to make this, the edge, more rounded and more like a book. I will say, working with things this small can be tricky. Also, my nails at the moment are probably a bit too long for this. But you know what? We can make it work. Okay. So just make it a nice rounded edge that will look more like a book in the end. I'll just quickly do the rest of them too. Emery board? What do you refer to? Sometimes when I read the comment, it's like a couple of minutes after you know, because of the lag and because I sometimes just focus on what I do for a change. So sometimes I just don't remember what exactly the connection is. But yeah. So we'll just this. And I will say that with this kind of, I'll move that a bit because I am creating some very lovely cardboard dust. So maybe not have it go straight into our beautiful little library. Okay. Oh, memory board, the original. Yeah. The funny thing with this one is also that I don't remember what I got it with. I bought something in Amazon and they were like, yeah, and you will get with it, what was it? I think 5 professional files for papercraft, something like that. I don't remember what exactly the wording was, but it did say that it's professional, uh, um, files for paper. And I didn't mind. It was like something that came with it, but it wasn't what I was buying it for. But it was really hilarious that when they came, it actually, I don't know if you can, yeah, you can probably still see. It actually says nail sunshine. So it's like, this is totally nail. But sometimes you're like, okay, whatever, man. If you're gonna cheat, at least, put some effort into it. At least don't send files that actually say nail files. Honestly. But yeah, so last one. We'll just, yeah. And I usually when I do this, especially when you have so many that you need so many, and also, I mean, I don't mind having extra books like this. They will just find place in a different room in this house or in a different house later. So I usually make them in batches. I'll sit down and I'll cut them to size, and then I'll do the filing on all of them, and then I'll do the coloring, which is what we'll do now. So I'm just gonna do some brown books, um, because I don't know, because I did a lot of colors. That is actually a lot of paint, and I am using, because I want to combine two shades of brown. I'm using acrylic paints for this. You can use something else, but I just find that acrylics are very convenient. These ones specifically are Daler Roni? Yeah, Daler Roni. They're good paints. You can definitely use any paint that you want. Hey, Don. Oh, thank you so much. I'm very glad this video is happening too. Okay, so, and I'm very, very glad to have you all with me. Okay, once I will actually manage to grab this, no, I'll use a slightly smaller brush. What? Okay, so, okay, so I'm just adding a little bit of water here to wet the brush, and I'm just going to mix up these 2 shades of brown and color the edges, basically coloring both sides and the spine, and leaving the top, well, leaving these 3 sides as clean as I can. I will say that often they do get some paint on them, and I don't mind too much because, again, it's hidden, basically. The reason I bother to paint all of the 3 sides is because if I want to put books in angles like I have here, I'll bring it up just in case. Like the first square, you can see that there's one book leaning on 2 others. And I don't want to I don't want to plan ahead what exactly I'm doing. So it's easier for me to make all of these books colored on 3 sides, and then, you know, there I can place them in whatever position I may like. I'll make this one a little bit more of this reddish brown. One of the things that I like doing is actually having, you can see that I have the 2 colors. They're sort of mixed, but not really. And they kind of I kind of mix them on the book itself. And that actually helps to create a more vintagey look, but saves me the time of, actually doing 2 layers. Because with something this size, yes, it's the Della Ronnie brand. I'm probably pronouncing it slightly wrong or something, but yeah. It's actually, I mean, it is, I think it's considered a professional paint brand. I bought, this set of God knows how many colors many years ago, and I still use it because I don't paint a lot with acrylics. So I often use it more for things like this. And as you can see, I don't use a lot. So it stayed for a long time. And I do like them. I feel like they have a good consistency. That's the word, consistency. Because, some acrylic paints are more fluid and some are more thick. Also, something that I really like about them is that they dry mate. I like my paints to dry mate. I don't like the shiny ones. If I want something shiny, I can add varnish. I don't want the paint to be shiny. I know some people do. It's okay. I, I am not a shiny person. That sounded weird. Um, uh, okay. One more. So, yeah, and that is basically going to be pretty much it for these books. And I think you can already see that each one of them looks a little bit different. And I don't, for these, again, because I'm doing this kind of library, I actually purposely did do several, uh, we can call it sets, I guess, like books that are like have 5 to 10 books, say, that are the same color of cover, and same size. And that's because I think that in a library like this, it's very, very common to have, um, sets of books like encyclopedias, lexicons, dictionaries, these kind of things that come in several volumes. So it's very common to see in a library, a set of several books that basically are the same color and same size because it's the same series. I'm just going to, well, I'll clean up this area a little bit with a baby wipe, and I'm also gonna rub this brush in it because we will be back for it. And let's see, yeah. I do appreciate that acrylic paints dry this fast. It does help that I have the air conditioning on right now because we are having a super stormy day. See, we have 5 tiny little books, and you can see that, yes, it's like the same color family, but these ones don't actually look like a set. They actually look like each one is slightly different, which I like very much. So yeah, I'll put these guys here, and let's talk about the second type of books that I have, which is it's a book cover. I think that would be the fair way to call it, to think. Yeah, it's basically just a folded up piece of, I use cardstock. And the idea with this, of course, if you press them like this, you squeeze them, then they do look like a book. And from the side, I will try to focus. I hope you can see it. I feel like you can see more of my nails than the books. But anyway, that's the thing when you do tiny things. Maybe if I'll hold two tweezers. Where are my tweezers? There we go. Like this. Yeah. Maybe a little more. I'm trying to. Yeah, basically. So the idea with this is twofold. One is that it does give me a thinner book, so a different style of book, but also that because they are because they fold over, they can sometimes just catch better and create a bit of a tension. Yes, tension in the shelf that fills it up much better. So you can see if you compare this shelf here, this one with the yellowish books, and the one here with the red books. Yeah. So both of them have 5 books. Yes, I'm counting right. Yes, both of them have 5 books. See, the yellow one, I only used the chipboard, the thicker ones. And you can see that, it looks great, but there's spaces between them a bit, which is fine. That's kind of how I wanted it. But if you want the sets to look very, like they really fill the shelf perfectly and sit perfectly next to the other, what I did in this one is that I had 4 of the chipboard, and then in the end I added one of these folded cardstock books, and it kind of expanded to the exact size that I need to have, the shelf filled up nicely, like a beautiful book set. So that's the idea with that. And they are, of course, extremely easy to make. All you do is make strips with cardstock. I'm using it's the Tim Holtz craft paper. I'm trying to remember if he calls it anything like a mixed media, but I think it's just the craft paper, which is very thick. It's 300 GCM. You can see that it's like very thick paper. And yeah, I just like working with it. It's very sturdy. It's cool. It's nice. Yeah. I mean, that's the point, in my opinion, also to have all of these options, because they allow you to create more of a variety, which feels more natural. So in this case, I am kind of marking off at 1 centimeter 20, because I want that when I fold it over, it'll be about 6 millimeters. So it's 12 millimeters. And I'm kind of, I don't know, squishing it a bit. The craft, yeah, the cardstock, just to kind of, it does, if you kind of squish it, it does break the fiber a bit, to allow it to fold over nicer. And I just, fold it over. That's it. Done. And now all I do is paint it. I will say, I have tried doing, I thought, oh, it'll be much quicker if I'll just paint the whole strip with the acrylic paint and then do the folding. With this cardstock, I found that it tended to crack. The paint tended to crack. It's the combination of this particular cardstock and this particular paint, the way that they work together. So, if you use something else, you would definitely have different results. But because of that, I do the painting afterwards. But I think that for today, you don't really need to see me painting this with acrylic. You can see how I painted it. It's like this, right? I paint just the outside, that's all. And I mean, this style of book will also allow to create open books, which is something we will do in the study, but not for the library. So I think we'll just fill up some shelves now, just a few shelves. So tell me, what color of books would you like me to play with? First of all, should it be a monochromatic shelf or mixture? And then if you have a preference for color, you will have blue and red, green, yellow, brown, various shades of green and brown, and slightly purplish green. Alrighty. So we have various greens. I'm thinking, I think that this time we'll do something more like, yeah, it is mostly sets. So, alrighty, but we can do something like the first shelf that it looks like, maybe it is a set, but someone took one of the books out. So I think maybe we'll do something similar to that. Bottom needs green now. Okay. So what we'll need is our tweezers and some patience. And I'm using the Distress Collage medium. You can use basically almost any other glue. And I'm just putting a line there at the back of the shelf. And basically what we'll do is just make sure that it goes all the way to the corner there. That's better. And now we can just, stick some books in it. Okay, so let's take a little book and just slide it in. I'm doing it in a bit of an angle in hopes that you can see better. Okay. Oop. Yeah, you can also do it just with your fingers, but they're just so small. They are really small. And I think I would like you to, no. Back to tweezers. I'll give you a bit of a leaning angle, I think. And let's get two more in this color. Yeah. The tweezers make it easier to a certain point, and basically what I do is just use them to, is this the same green? Not entirely. Are you the same green? Yeah, but you're a little big. Let's see. I think this one should work, right? Yeah. Oop, oop. There we go. So basically, once I have the books that I know I want in the shelf, on the shelf, This is where I start kind of playing, and I use a toothpick for it. It's just easier. And yeah, we can have a shelf like this. Okay, let's do another one, maybe just a full one. Can do the other green. I don't know, that might look a bit too much. Let's do the yellowish one, I think. Maybe this kind of mustard yellow too. We can do a combination of these two quite easily. It just, sometimes it just looks a bit like one or two of them are a bit, I don't know, they were more red, more used. And that's fine. That always happens in sets of books. It can be frustrating for the collector, but that happens. So let's do a mustardy one. And actually, you know what, before I start, let's just check that we have what we need. Have books that are more or less the same size. They're all supposed to be the same size, but you know how it is. When you cut things by hand, it's a bit more pressure on this, a bit more pressure on that, and they don't come out exactly the same, ever. At least not to me. So, this one might be a bit too big. I think that's okay. This one's too small. Yeah, that should be fine, I think. Just want to check. I think I've had another yellow one. Nope. Okay. Because I think it's a little bit short, but you know what? I can always fix it, and I can show you how if you need it. Okay. Let's put the glue in. Use this stick to kind of make sure that it reaches everywhere. Good. That's when you use the shorter one to lean. Yeah, sometimes. It helps for sure. Okay. Let's start one. Two. So what I basically do is also, if I see that one of them is, this one is particularly larger. So what I'm simply going to do, I think, is chop it up a bit. Sometimes you can just do that. Just hold it carefully and remove a little sliver from the top. Because the other thing you can do, yeah, now it's good. The other thing you can do is also play a little bit with where exactly they're sitting. And we can just push this one in. I see that it's, oh, okay. Now, in this case, let's hope that you can see here. I hope you can see. I don't know if you can, but the paint basically cracked. I think that was one of the experiments that I did with trying to paint it first and then fold it. But luckily, I think that in this case, we should be able to just use a fifth one. And what I'm doing now is just using the toothpick to make sure that they're standing, like that their top is the same height. And if we need, we can exchange them. Because if you put the slightly shorter one more to the middle, it's somehow less obvious that it's not reaching completely the bottom of the shelf. And then you have a nice set of books that are basically the same height, which is all we need. Yay. Okay. So, should we do? You know what? I think we'll just do a couple more shelves or something, just because we're almost at an hour. Or should I do a window frame? You tell me. I'm gonna do a let's do some brown green mix here, and you tell me if you want me to do some window shell frames, or we'll do that next week already. Perhaps with curtains, because we have done curtains before. Yes, yes, I am aware. However, I think that like until now, we basically the rooms we did all look good, basically. As and I mean by good, I mean they don't look destroyed. They don't look that yeah, they look fine, even though like just someone didn't live there for a long time. But except for the bathroom, which is in this floor that we did, that was looking slightly more disheveled, shall we say. And I kind of like the idea that actually this floor is in a much less prosperous shape. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I am actually going to do, this one's going to be a bit like this. And I want a green one. This guy. Just be here, sort of in the middle. Oh, okay. So, let's see. I'll play with it. Maybe, ooh. Okay, this one will stand completely straight. Then I want these three, all of them to be in a bit of an angle. Yes? No. No. Okay. I'm gonna add a folded one here. Let's do a red one, reddish one. Now I'm just kind of pressing it folded, pushing it in, and you can see already, I think you can see that it kind of catches the white with window frames next week. Awesome. And yeah, now we just push this down a bit. And in this case, because I did this is obviously not a set, then I kind of want them purposely to look different. I'm actually going to maybe pull this one a little bit out to make it look like it's longer. Okay, guys. Settle in, please. There we go. Okay. So the one more thing that I wanted to kind of show you, I'll collect the pile of books afterwards, is that the last thing that I do is add a little bit of details. I like using the distress paint, the tarnished brass for it, which is basically like old gold, right? I like these paints for it because they are very, very liquid. Not very liquid, very fluid. Anyways, I take this brush, which is, very, very tiny. And with this, I hope you'll be able to see it, but I can just add a few lines on the books, specifically the ones that are, if it's supposed to be a set, then it's nice to have something that sort of defines it as a set, because there will be a lot of red books probably around here. So just adding a little bit of detail here and there. Gonna add, so for these guys, I'm just adding these lines at the top of the bottom and the bottom. Maybe for these ones, we'll do like just kind of like lines or something. It's basically going to look maybe like, I don't know, just a little bit. And it is very, very common to have, gold engravings on. I'm actually going to add just a dot, I think. And we can imagine that maybe it would have been like a flower or something like that, but it's too tiny. We can't see the detail. But adding it, first of all, yes, it's very common to have metallic details on like 19th century books, but also it just catches the light and it really adds so much character. And it really doesn't take that long. So yeah, I definitely think it's worth it to just I would basically generally do it when I finished already all the shelves, like fill up all the shelves, have all the books in place. I think I've put gold on the library, so I'll just remove it and just come from this angle. There we go. And just like a squiggle. Yeah, okay. So just gonna clean this brush. These tiny, tiny, super, super fine brushes are amazing, but you kind of, and I just like to, watch over them a bit extra. So I clean it immediately. It doesn't need too much at this point. You just kind of use water and I'm wiping it on this baby wipe until I can see that it doesn't leave any more color. And I can put it in this little tube thingy to protect it. And that's about it. Yeah, it does make it look more rich when you have this kind of little gold details, and also much more fitting for it's just fitting for the period. If you've seen, books from 19th century, beginning of 20th century as well, you have so many with like gold engraving details. It's very, very common. It's very pretty. So why not, right? So yeah, higgledy-piggledy bookshelves, just like, yes, my own bookshelves look the same. They're very messy. I also have like, piles sometimes. It's fun. I love books. It's always a good look as far as I'm concerned. So yeah. Um, oh, thank you. Thank you, Karen. I love that. I'm really happy that you're enjoying this mention, and it's definitely fun for me. It's definitely going to take long, and we are probably going to take another break for another project in the middle. But we are also definitely going to finish it at some point. We'll continue and build it because it's fun and I love it. And if you love it too, then what more reasons do we? Really, that's it. So yeah. So next week we'll do the window frames. And yeah, I was starting to say that we have done curtains in the parlor, but I think that in this one, I might want them to be a bit more raggedly torn. I just feel like these floor in general should have more marks of something happening. So we might do some more curtains. I'm not sure. Or we might start on the desk because I do have a plan, so we can do that as well. We'll see exactly. And in the background to that all, I will continue with filling up this library. This will take a bit of time. I'm just in a very busy period right now, so unfortunately, I don't have a lot of times to kind of push things and progress more in the background. But it's still good. It's still good. That's what we have this, and yeah, we'll just continue next week. Thank you so very much for joining me. This is so much fun to have you, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. And I will see you next week. Yes. Yeah, have a wonderful week, and thank you again so very much. Bye for now.